Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unpack the confusing language of corporate filings to reveal the hidden truths and predict the future of the market with a little bit of sass. Today we're looking at a report from Target Hospitality Corp, a company that provides essential services to some of the most critical and often overlooked sectors of society. Let's dive in and see what story their latest filing tells us. What were they up to in November 2025? Alright, so this is a Form 8K, which is basically a report that companies have to file with the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, whenever something significant happens that investors need to know about pretty quickly. Think of it as a cosmic bulletin board for the stock market. This particular filing from Target Hospitality Corp, which we'll call THC for short outlines. Some important information from the 17th of November 2025. Now, THC is a company that focuses on providing essential services and infrastructure primarily for government agencies and the private sector. They operate in areas like detention facilities and that sort of thing, which, as you can imagine, doesn't always make for the most glamorous news, but it is incredibly important work. So what is the big news from this particular filing? Well, the main reason for this filing is what they call Regulation FD disclosure. Now, FD stands for fair disclosure, and it is a rule designed to ensure that all investors get the same information at the same time. No special treatment for the big guys. In this case, THC is making public a presentation they just posted on their website. So essentially, this report is a heads up to the SEC and everybody else that THC shared an investor presentation. This presentation likely contains updates on their business, their strategy, and perhaps their financial performance. And importantly, it contains what they call forward-looking statements. These are statements about what the company thinks might happen in the future. It is like crystal ball gazing, but for business. Companies have to be careful with these statements, and that is why they always include a bunch of legal jargon to protect themselves. The key takeaway here is that this presentation is now public information. While this filing itself doesn't contain detailed financial tables like a quarterly earnings report or a full annual report, the fact that they're filing an 8K to highlight an investor presentation tells us they want to make sure everyone sees what they're saying about their future. Think of it as them saying, hey, we're putting our plans out there and we want to be transparent about it. This type of filing is less about revealing new numbers and more about communicating strategic information. What we can infer from this is that THC is actively engaging with investors and likely wants to highlight certain aspects of their business or upcoming opportunities. Investor presentations are usually designed to paint a positive picture of the company's prospects. They tend to focus on growth drivers' competitive advantages and how the company plans to achieve its goals. Given the nature of THC's business, which provides critical services for government and infrastructure projects, you might expect their strategy to revolve around securing long-term contracts, expanding their service offerings, and managing operational efficiency. Investor presentations are often where companies talk about new contract wins, expansions into new markets, or innovations in their service delivery. This report is signed by Heidi D. Lewis, who is the Executive Vice President, General Counsel, and Secretary. This is pretty standard. It means the company's legal team is overseeing these important disclosures to make sure everything is above board and compliant with SEC regulations. It signals that the information being shared is considered important enough to warrant official sign-off. So while this 8K might not give us the nitty-gritty financial numbers in detail, it provides a strong signal about THC's proactive approach to investor relations and transparency. They are actively sharing information about their direction and future outlook with the market. What is really interesting to consider is the context of THC's business. They operate in sectors that are often influenced by government policy and funding. So when they talk about future growth, it is likely tied to the stability or expansion of these government programs. Think about it this way, if THC is presenting to investors, they are probably trying to convince them that the company is on a solid path to success. This could mean highlighting stable recurring revenue from existing contracts or showcasing new potential revenue streams. Without the detailed financials from the presentation itself, we have to infer the general themes. THC's common stock is traded on the Nasdaq under the ticker symbol THC. This means publicly traded companies like THC are under constant scrutiny from investors and regulators. This filing is a part of that ongoing disclosure process. The IRS employer identification number is also listed here. This is a unique identifier for tax purposes. It is a standard piece of information for any US business. The date, the 17th of November 2025, is important. It tells us exactly when this particular event, the posting of the investor presentation, occurred. For investors tracking a company's activities, this helps to contextualize any news or announcements. The company's common stock is registered on the Nasdaq exchange. This is where you can go to buy or sell shares of THC. This registration means they adhere to the listing requirements of that exchange. Now, looking at this filing from a broader perspective, what does it really tell us? companies don't just post investor presentations for fun. They do it to communicate their vision, their strategy, and to build confidence among investors. For THC, this means they are likely emphasizing their role in providing essential services, emphasizing their reliability, and perhaps highlighting any government contracts or projects that are gaining momentum. Investor presentations are often a carefully crafted narrative. They will highlight strengths, minimize weaknesses, and focus on opportunities. The fact that this presentation is being highlighted in an 8K filing means THC wants to ensure that this information is widely disseminated and understood. It is a signal to the market that they are confident in their story and their future. So what is our take? This filing is more of a notification than a deep dive into financials. It tells us THC is actively communicating its future plans. We would need to see the actual investor presentation to get the full picture of their financial health and strategic direction. However, the act of filing this 8K suggests that THC is emphasizing its stability and growth potential to its investors. For a company in the essential services sector, this often translates to long-term predictable revenue streams. The key risks for a company like THC could include changes in government policy budget cuts or increased competition, though their specialized niche might offer some protection. We'll keep an eye on THC and hope to get our hands on that investor presentation soon to decode it for you folks. What do you think about this type of corporate disclosure? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Don't forget to join our Discord community linked in the description to continue the conversation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.